Welcome to our Food for Thought session. Welcome to the Food for Thought session with Manjula Lee. Manjula is the founder and CEO of Worldwide Generation, and she will tell us about her company. You will have already seen from the profile that was posted on our website. It's a very interesting company, and she is trying to scale up a sustainable technology business. Yeah. So I've requested Manjula, and she's very kindly agreed to give us a little bit of a demo of their product. And then she will also talk about some of the nuances of scaling up the business during these times. Yeah? I will tell you a little bit more about Manjula, but before that, a quick reminder, there are clearly some upcoming webinars as well, so please do pencil them in your calendars, in your diaries. The next session that we have is going to be about management books. Books are dead, long live books, debating the future of management books. The one after that is about a global influencer platform and weathering the pandemic. You may already know this platform. And the one after that is about behavioral insights in investment decisions. Yeah? So three very interesting and exciting webinars coming up. But before that, let's talk a little bit with Manjula, and she will tell us about Worldwide Generation and, of course, scaling up a technology business. You would have already seen from Manjula's profile that she is clearly a very, very energetic and inspiring person. You know? She's clearly passionate about sustainability, and she's following her passion, and she has set up a very interesting company that is trying to get together a whole lot of stakeholders around the sustainability topic and trying to get them to share information. Clearly, when it comes to sharing information, there's an element of trust, and this is where blockchains come in. And she's using this technology to build in that trust when people are sharing information with each other. Yeah? So over to you, Manjula. I'll hand it over to you. I'm sure you will tell us a little bit more about yourself and the company. And let me stop sharing my screen, and then you can share yours. While you're doing that, a quick reminder, please do post your questions in the Q&A tab so that I get a chance to ask Manjula some of your questions as well.
Thanks, Anish. It's so good to be here. I remember I spoke to CAS community a couple of years ago, and actually last year as well. And so really pleased to be on this forum with you. So I started Worldwide Generation in 2016. Really, I've been one of my lifelong missions is to try and understand, why is humanity in the state that we're in today? And that is, at least over half the global population that are living on less than $250 a day. We have 0.8% of the world who control the wealth and the power. We have massive inequality across all types of diversity communities. And we also have 1.5 degrees left in global warming before potentially irreversible decline of our planet. And so been on this quest ever since something called the Sustainable Development Goals came out by the UN in September 2015, and started Worldwide Generation, said, what if I could somehow create an organization that would have no other agenda but to bring government, business, civil society, and citizens to deliver these goals? Because we are the 21st century generation. We're the last generation that can do it because of climate change. We're the first generation that can do it because of technology and innovation and what we know now. So I think started this company, but didn't realize that we were a tech company until I started to try and understand the problem that we were facing. What was stopping us from investing sustainably and making sustainable decisions and products and solutions at scale? And this is my first tip for anyone building a business. Know the problem you're trying to fix. The bigger the problem you're trying to fix, the more successful you're going to be, and align that problem to your purpose and clarity of purpose as a leader. So, so I try to understand what is going on in the market today and why, what's happening. A lot of the data that is out in the market that enables us to make decision making, trillions and trillions of dollars of decision making off the back of, is scraped from the public domain mainly. There is no provenance or evidence to that data. When we spoke to the investor community, we said, what's stopping you from investing sustainably? And they said, right now, sustainability data is coming like 12 to 24 months outside of financial data. Because it's scraped from the public domain, we have very little trust in that data. We have to clean that data, categorize that data. And so not only is it out of date, we don't trust it and we have to clean it. Secondly, we just got our head around something called SRI, then there's ESG and SDGs and TLAs coming out of our ears. Like, we don't know how to invest. If someone can give us trusted, comparable, timely data, we can do our bit. And this whole idea about ratings versus impact measurement as well was really important to them, because ratings just tell them is something good, bad, not so good. It doesn't say if I invest in this is going to move the dial from here to here, And so we hear this from the investors, and we go and speak to the companies, the ones that are actually providing this data in the first place. We said, what's happening to you? Oh, it's a nightmare for us as well. We have to go on all these different portals, fill out all these surveys, thousands of questions per survey. We put that data on our website, that gets scraped. We're named and shamed rather than supported of how to improve sustainability and impact. And we have no control over our own data. And if you take that down to private companies or SMEs, forget it. They haven't got the infrastructure. They don't know where to start. I mean, it's, and ironically, some of these smaller companies, if only they could articulate their impact on society and planet, there's a wall of money waiting to invest in them, but they don't know where to start or how to do it. And then there's these people in the middle, assurers and rating agencies. So people that third-party verify this data. A lot of the big four do it and audit this data. They've also got real problems, because for them to third-party verify data, they have to fly, literally get on a plane and fly all over the world to see where the data's come from. That's very, very expensive. I mean, in the multi-millions to assure a whole data set. By the time it hits the rating agencies who have to score the data or rate it, they can only really do something that's third-party verified. So off they go back to the data scrape data. We realized this was going on. We're like, whoa, hang on a second. This is like serious market failure. It's not because of will, expertise, resource capital. It's this. And so we basically realized that without trusted, comparable, timely data and no one having the ability to execute, this was the crux of the matter. And this is why we're not going to deliver the SDGs or any sustainability goals. So that's where we realized Worldwide Generation was a technology company. We're like, how could we solve this thing, right? And so for the last 3 years, we've been developing the G17 Eco platform to solve this holistically, all stakeholders, and to unlock this data set at scale. And so I was going to quickly show it to you, if I may. Yeah?
Yeah, please, yeah.
Cool. So actually, I might just quickly do this. Great. So so welcome to G17 Eco. This is the lifelong passion culminating into kind of this platform. And I'll just quickly stop through this, but we'll whiz through. So this is G17 Eco. We say it helps deliver the 5 M's: map, monitor, measure, manage, and market end to end. The first thing we're able to do is to create a digital map of any organization, fund, or project. And it enables the data bots to read the data from the bottom denominator all the way to the top and roll up that data. We can handle any type of investment category across any sector. The system's completely agnostic. And then we onboard a company, a fund, and a project, and we give them these like LinkedIn style dashboards to present their data in a really standardized way. And so the heart of the technology is our monitoring capability. And we use databot technology. These are our databots. They're called universal trackers, to collect, process, disseminate, and aggregate the data. And here they are. They're getting ready to go and collect data from a company. And so what they do, they travel on a blockchain to mark their chain of provenance of where they're going, who they're getting data from, on what date, with what evidence. And so you can see them here. They're going to travel on the blockchain. The company's going to get an alert saying we're requesting data from you. They can be putting data in where from the field, from operations, from factories, or even directly into this digital reporting tool. So instead of thousands of surveys, they can do one reporting tool to kind of feed them all. So here's a question. They're going to put this data in here. And essentially the difference between this type of platform is that we're also requesting evidence to substantiate the claim. And what's really powerful about the evidence is we even have geotagging on the evidence. So if you took a photo in your Nigeria factory, it will take that information, that metadata, and it'll place it in and attach it to this record. So it helps with the verification on the other side. So let's just say that this is one of the companies, they've finished all of their data claims. They can now bundle that data and share it with a third-party verifier. And so let's just say that they're going to get a message now saying, this company has requested that you verify their data. They can literally log onto the same portal. They don't have to fly anywhere to go and check out the data, right? They can come in here, it's all bundled up for them. They can see the data, who put it in, what evidence did they provide to substantiate that claim. They can have a look at that and basically, you know, that's all there, all the records. They can go back and forth verifying this data. And once they're happy with it, they then mark that on the blockchain as well. So now you've got what the company has said, what is being third-party verified, and we have a hash of that as well. And this is really to make sure that when the stakeholders who are receiving this data are receiving it with that provenance. So now these data bots can be accountable for millions, if not billions, of data collection points at the same time, all over the world. Now it comes to the measure capability. So these data bots have algorithmic processing capability. So as they're collecting the data, they're processing this data in real time to measure impact. And what we've done is we've built a taxonomy, all those thousands of metrics that no one knows how to deal with. What they're doing here, the data bots are now referencing this, and they're putting and placing data across all those different framework standards, regulations. So the company just has to do it once, and the system does the work of segmenting their data. So now this data is trusted, it's comparable, it's a golden source. It can now go to analysts and agencies, stock markets, anyone else that wants to then use that data to build products and services off the back of that. And we're also processing this data up to the global community as well for public. Any records that are made public go up. Sorry, Anish, do you have a question?
Sorry. Yes, Manjula. Since we spoke about it when we were trying it out, suddenly the sound of the soundtrack has gone up a little bit. So if you can reduce it, I think we'll be able to hear you slightly better.
Sure. Let me actually, I think I might have put my volume down. Okay, there we go. Okay. Is that okay?
Yeah. Yes, thanks.
Okay, great. So,
sorry, the music is still quite loud.
It is? Okay, well, I'll just turn it right down.
Yeah, thanks. Okay.
Can you hear that now?
Yeah, this is better.
Great. So now it comes to the managed capability. So now you have the data, you have the analytics. So imagine this is an investor. An investor gets a message saying that their company data is in. They log on in literally real time. They can have a look at their portfolio. They can see it's all being standardized. All the data is there. They can put their holdings and their weightings in there. This is we get proper peer comparisons now, apples with apples, because everything's standardized on the system. They can set up fund targets and all of they have, even drill down. And we're just going to see here how you're going to be able to drill down right to that one data point, which they've never had this granularity in the data and the provenance of it. So here we go. We're going to go all the way back to that data point that was put on the system. You can go back in here and see, okay, how did this company answer that question? What evidence do they provide, etc. And the investors can also access all of this, the whole provenance and the mappings. We say that if you can do the 4 M's in the robust way, the 5th M, which is marketing, not a problem, because now it can be all put into, digital style pitch books. If you're trying to showcase your project, trying to showcase your company, it's very easy to share links. No more PDFs, no more, reports or anything like that. It's here all for anyone to share, sharing multimedia, taking people to right down to the source of your projects and your initiatives. Some standard reports that come off the back of the platform. And this is where it gets really powerful. So imagine those data bots that are collecting data directly from the companies and from the projects, coming out to the assurers, the rating agencies, back to the investors. Now they all roll up to national and global levels at the same time. We're geotagging all the data. So as a company onboards, as an investor onboards, we say, how are you closing the deficits of those SDGs in your nation and for the globe? And so we've got all the information rolling up to this one global that we're going to make is going to be public. Everyone can see where are we, where is South Africa on hunger, where is the UK on gender equality, and what do we have to do to move the dial. The next frontier of this, and hopefully exciting for this community, is the people movement. What can you as the everyday person do towards this effort? Now, because the data is standardized, we're going to be plugging this in even to social media platforms where you'll be able to see from Instagram, LinkedIn, etc. Hey, there's a project happening over there. I want to volunteer my skills, or I want to donate, or I want to invest, and we can crowdsource all of our efforts into these different projects and companies all over the world. And for the budding business school community, really where this is going to get exciting for you to come on a platform like this is where we'll be able to match make you to investors, right? So when you have your idea and you have your project or your company, when you start using a platform like this and you can articulate your impact, we'll be able to match make you to those investors that care about that specific strategy or that topic all over the world. And that's G17.
Absolutely fantastic. I mean, there are so many different questions that I really want to ask you about G17 Eco and, of course, about worldwide generation. So I want to cluster my questions around three big topics, and I'm very conscious that we only have a few minutes left in this session, which is by design, of course. So the three topics that I have, one is clearly around the business model. So how do you generate revenue? I know there's a profit making, there's a not-for-profit side of the whole company. So a little bit about the business model. Second big question area is impact of COVID. And the third one is, if I were a student, how you already mentioned how I can be involved in terms of launching some projects. But if I were a student, how can I be involved, essentially? So three big questions.
Do you want me to? Okay, great. So the first question, the business model is, so on the worldwide generation side, we're a fintech for-profit organization. If you think of the G17 Eco platform, that's more like your mobile phone. That's the protocol layer, that's the infrastructure layer. And we've built apps onto that infrastructure, like your phone as well. So we've built a company tracker and a portfolio tracker and a world tracker so far as apps. So those apps are a SaaS model. So it's software as a service. You pay annually for a subscription, and we tier it depending on how big the company is or the investor asset manager is.
Got it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so the G17 Eco side is a like a membership model. So if you want to be a member of the community, then you can be a member of the.
Right, got it. Which kind of very nicely leads into the second question, which is the impact of COVID. So how do you see the membership? How do you see the business model changing? How do you see people's interest in sustainability and sustainability reporting changing as a result of COVID?
Yeah, I mean, so 4 years ago when we set out to do this, never in our wildest dreams did we think the platform was going to come out off the back of a global pandemic. We launched on the 1st of July this year, right? And we were like holding our breath going, oh my gosh, it could go one of two ways, right? So either people are like, don't want to know about sustainability, or it brings them closer. And actually, I would say COVID brought the sustainable development goals closer to home, made them more tangible of how powerful Mother Nature is, how our supply chains are not as robust as we think they are. Our transparency is not there. Definitely, misinformation. I mean, just the whole thing was just, if anything, was a market force that made a platform like this sort of far more needed, and so. We were really blessed that it came out, and there was a whole pipeline of organizations that were already knew we existed and waiting for it to come out, and then that catalyzed it. Was it really hard? Absolutely. Did I have to make some serious, hard decisions about everything? We were thinking, do we give it for free for a while just to get people, moving, and all sorts of things, and our own team, our own survival. Some of our investors couldn't make their commitments. I mean, there was just everything that was real to everybody else was happening to us. But this is where I come back to purpose. If you've got a team and if you're committed as a leader and you're as a founder to purpose, then you find the resilience. That's where the resilience comes from, because you grit through this and you go, no, the reason we're doing this is for such a time as this. This is why we created a worldwide generation, and we have to now lean in. And so that actually, it was the purpose that got us through it, built the resilience, and made the team do, what they do best, which is just to keep going.
Right.
But 100%, we had to kind of think, okay, how do we get the movement going? And then what we realized is actually a few strategic partners, a few alliances that we wanted to make could lead us to getting this all going and getting this off the ground. And that's what we did. We went deep.
So do you mind naming one or two of these exemplars who are essentially in the sustainability space, who are leading the way? I saw Unilever on your demo, so I assume Unilever is...
Yeah, so Unilever was one of our first clients, and they were also they were in our pilot last year, and they are really a sustainability front runner. They're a great organization. But the new alliances that we're making are with the UN. So we're also going to be their technology partner for cities and governments to use the platform to report their SDG progress. We're starting to link arms with some of the biggest asset managers, so the investor community, because one investor is invested in thousands of companies, and so we're strengthening up. We're about to announce 2 very big partnerships in the next couple of weeks. And FinCap, it's a stockbroker, and they help companies go on the stock market and on AIM. And they are now nominating their companies and saying, hey, companies, if you want better valuations, you want to get a better IPO and fundraise, you need to prove your sustainability credentials. Not just say you're doing it, prove it, right? Because otherwise they can't do their job, which is to get them in front of the wall of money. And so sustainability is probably going to be and credibility and trust is going to be the highest currency in this new world. And so anyone that's starting a company, or even in a company now, has to think about how do we do this, because the upside is massive. We're already seeing 11 times better on the stock market, 14 times more revenue. You're going to attract better talent, better market share the millennials and Gen Z, 90% more likely to align with a brand that can prove their impact on society and planet. And it's a $12 trillion new economy per year. 12 trillion, biggest market, of any generation.
Yeah, actually, when I got introduced to Worldwide Generation, and of course the platform, I think one of the things that really was interesting was essentially that your value proposition was not quote unquote charity. Your value proposition was there is actually a business opportunity behind all of this, and that's where the value proposition was so clear and so nice, essentially from a business school perspective as well. Which actually leads me nicely into the next question, which is, if I were a student, what would be the different opportunities for me to be involved with Worldwide Generation or the platform?
Yeah, I mean, so Anish, I've come to speak at CAS, and we actually have a CAS alumni working for us right now. She came to do a placement of one of her for her thesis and stuff, and we ended up hiring her. So we love this community. We love anyone that is passionate about this topic. If you want to, you can you come on our website, send us a note. We're very responsive. If you want to do anything, whether you want to do a project with us or you want to do some work experience with us, it can lead to so many things. There's so many opportunities with this. We have people all over the world now in about, I think, 10 countries who've reached out to us over COVID time saying, hey, can I bring this to my nation? And so we would love to, wherever you're watching from, if you want to get in touch, we'd love to hear from you. And yeah, be part of the movement. We need as many people driving this movement.
That's great. As you know, I mean, clearly, I will definitely spread the word around, and definitely that's great. That's a very nice invitation to a lot of our students, I would say. One of my colleagues is asking a question, which is, if you are in a business school, what do you think we should be teaching at a business school to ensure that our graduates are ready to work in this new environment? And if you have some insights, are we doing enough, or what more can we do around building up this kind of an awareness?
Yeah, I've got something in the sense that at the moment, a lot of the myth is sustainability is high risk, low reward, and as business leaders, we really have to change those paradigm, those mindsets, those cognitive biases that we've grown up with, and so one of the things that I think is important that is part of an MBA is to start working through these old belief systems and renewing those new beliefs. Because if we want authentic leadership, we need them to think very differently. And at the moment, we've got like old mindsets trying to do new things, and it's very, very difficult. But if we have the new generation of leaders coming up, they have to have a mindset that says, oh, for me to be profitable and have prosperity, I have to be accountable. I have to be accountable as a business. I have to have purpose and clarity of purpose. But also to be a leader is to be vulnerable and courageous and actually step out from where, not just do what everyone else is doing. So, but that only comes from a renewed mindset. And so if we're going to regenerate the planet, we have to renew the minds first and the belief system. So I would say that should be a big, and also know the consumer, how the behavior works. How do we change behavior,
That's very inspiring. Very inspiring. More recently, we just had a talk with someone who was essentially talking about how do we create this shared belief, essentially, about the future. And you clearly are impacting that through a specific product. I think we have a few questions. So Samir is asking, how easy is it to scale blockchain technology that you are using? And Samir is also asking, what are your views about cybersecurity threats? And how can you guarantee misinformation and malinformation?
I'll answer the first question. So we use private and public blockchain. So private ledger, distributed ledger technology, it's literally just, it's like a node of servers. And so when the data bots are writing, they're basically writing to the ledger, very low consumption, energy, etc. It's just like writing on an Excel spreadsheet, but it's immutable. Then every night we're posting a hash, not data, but a hash to an Ethereum blockchain. So again, very low, and that can scale super, super fast. So yeah, so there's no problem with scaling. And it's just the way that we're using blockchains. We've had lots of people look at this and go, wow, this is actually a really great use case for blockchain, the way it's being used. Very scalable, no energy, but used for the context of immutability and transparency.
Mm-hmm.
How can we guarantee that the cybersecurity? So, well, we do penetration testing. We've and one of the things about blockchain is what's great is that even though our actual layer is a web application, the blockchain underneath makes that when the data is there, it is immutable. I mean, look, it's probably the best right now we have for cybersecurity attacks. It also means that WWG, so one of the things with tech companies, we have to be accountable as leaders ourselves. What are we doing with the data? So one of the things we were trying to show as a promise from our perspective is we're not even touching or manipulating the data, And so I think underpinning the platform with blockchain technology is one way of preventing against cybersecurity. We're always also doing penetration testing, checking this. So if someone wanted to try and hack in and change data points, we just upload the last batch of data that we had, which is completely immutable. So they can change it if they want to, but we'll have the record that's immutable, right? And how do you make sure that every single claim is correct? You can't, but what we're doing is we're putting the accountability onto the person that's making the claim in the first place and say, your data, who is it coming from? Are you willing to risk your reputation against that data point with evidence, with provenance? Then we let the community and do the work, right? Because then you're then crowdsourcing intelligence on that data. So if someone wants to lie, they can. We can't stop them, right? But we have the trail. We have the provenance.
Exactly. Yep. Manjula, thank you so much. Thank you so much once again for taking some time and speaking with us. It's an absolutely always a pleasure to have you come and speak to us about Worldwide Generation and of course the platform. Great to see the demo. And you can count on us. You will get a lot of queries about
great.
how do we get involved more directly with the company. Thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you so much. Yeah, great. Thank you for having me. Awesome.
Thanks.
Bye.
See you. Bye.